Hey guys, Flabaliki here today and welcome back to Cities Skylines. Today starting off with a time-lapse, although I guess starting off is a bit of a misnomer. Most of this episode will be a time-lapse. It's about 21 minutes 40 seconds, so we're going to be hanging out here doing some builds just because there's a few things that I want to do around the city as per usual. I did actually also do a little bit of work before this time-lapse, which I'll show a little bit later on if it doesn't pop up during this, because I don't know if we'll see it around the place, but if not, we'll go back into the live gameplay at the end and we'll check it out there. But I did finally enable Plop the Growables again because we used it in the last series. And I don't know why. I kind of chose not to use it this series, but it was really frustrating me how few buildings we had in Rico. And then I didn't really want to go through every single building and add it to Rico and add Rico settings. And then the ones that you get from the workshop that do have those settings typically have, way too many workers or residents living in each building. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about when I say Rico, it's that mod that allows us to place buildings down manually, much like this, but you do specific settings for how many workers, residents, all that kind of stuff. And usually those buildings, yeah, like I said, have way too much, so it was kind of just annoying me. So I was like, all right, forget it. Let's just go back to using Plop the Growables because it's great, because we can still do all the zoning like we normally do, but then we can also just manually place down buildings in areas where we need to. Like, we're not going to be doing this absolutely everywhere. But for example, like right here, where it's just like this really tight space, really awkward shapes of like roads, and it's all kind of close together. If we just did zoning here and tried to grow it, it would be, way more spaced out. It wouldn't look as nice. So in this case, we're able to sort of place all these buildings together and make them look a little bit nicer. I also now can finally use a bunch of buildings that I did download ages ago. Like, I've had all these kind of different buildings that you haven't seen here yet in my game for ages, but we just haven't had them, pop up because they're not in any building theme. We don't have Rico settings for them. So they've just kind of been in my game and I've been loading them, but we haven't used them. So it's really nice to be able to start using those. And I think some of the buildings that we're going to be using, I think they're like French buildings. I think there's Danish buildings. I think there's English buildings here and there as well. So don't freak out when you're like, that's not from Sweden or that's not Swedish. I mean, most of this map is pretty much generic European theme, and even then it's kind of loosely European. Like, we're mostly just having fun with this city, so don't take it too seriously, I think is my point. Like, if I think it looks cool, I'm gonna do it. It's definitely not realistic, especially last time when we did the nuclear power plant. Yeah, that was not realistic, but I still think it looked cool, so that's kind of what we went with. I do want to go back there and do some more detailing though, because obviously we kind of just plonked stuff down and didn't really get around to detailing it a bit more. And then I realized I have these buildings in my game. I don't know when I downloaded them, but there's all these like sets of buildings that we can sort of put together. I'm like, hell yeah, this is great, because it sort of fits in with the theme, but it's a larger building, so we can sort of put those around the place. And I was like, yeah, that's sick. So we got a few of those. And in this area, because it's right by the sort of highway that we have there, I was like, I kind of wanted to do a mix of the sort of newer, sort of more contemporary buildings, and then have some of the older sort of European buildings on the, I guess, closer to the road, and then closer to the highway we have like the more modern buildings. That's kind of what I was going for. So I was trying to find a nice sort of mix there. Obviously a lot of these are way too big, so we didn't go with them, but I was just trying to see what I could find. Thought this one was quite nice. Like, it's a pretty generic looking building, just like glass all over it. So I'd sort of just line them up there. And then like along this road here. So this is kind of where, like I said, this is where Plop the Growables is useful for tight areas like this, especially like our downtown area where we're sort of putting a lot of stuff together. I think it's really, really nice for all this. I actually really like this building too. I didn't know how I was going to use it, so it's kind of just there. Because like the back half is kind of blank. Like, it'd be really cool if there was like graffiti on that window, that wall there, but it was like, I don't know. Anyway, I kind of just lined it with buildings, then we put some trees in it, and it all looks good in the end. I think it looks great in the end. Oh, I really wanted an almost like an oval shaped building or something to put in the middle here. But I couldn't, there was nothing that really actually looked that good. So I think in the end, I just went for two like way lower density looking buildings, like way shorter. I thought that building was cool because it had like an old billboard sort of on the side of it. So when you're driving on the highway, you can kind of see that, which is it's kind of cool. And then, yeah, here's me going through every single building. So that's kind of why also a lot of this stuff, yeah, when we start placing more buildings like this, it's going to be time lapses. Because I did actually originally start recording an episode in live gameplay. Like, this was originally, part of this was originally live gameplay. And then I was just like, I was talking so slow. You know, like when I get in the zone and I talk really slow and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put this here and then I'm going to put that there. Yeah, it was kind of like that. I'm like, okay, let's just let's speed this up a little bit. So I decided to do a time lapse instead. It just makes more sense. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So we got the high school there. So I thought maybe I'll just put like a little what was that? What did I put? Is that a tennis court? Yeah, tennis court around the back of it. Just to sort of, fit in with the area a little bit more. So we've got still quite a few open spaces around the downtown. I haven't fully finished it, like filled it out in this part either, because I'm sort of doing this little area, but even this area is not done. And then I sort of jump around, because what I realized is and we spoke about this a little while ago, was doing a new light rail line somewhere in the city, preferably going from, I think, like the tourism island up from there. So that's kind of what I get distracted by halfway through this. Like you'll see I'm doing all these buildings and then I go ahead and start building light rail. And I think it's actually really good. And it is quite a popular line. Oh, that's the other thing I did. Yeah, there's quite a few little things I've been doing. Like I know that these episodes are kind of far apart and that kind of sucks because I know it'd be great if we could do them every day. I'll try and get back to more regularity with this because at the moment it's so far apart. And I'm sorry. But I have been doing stuff, I've been chipping away at it day by day. I went back and I downloaded new trams that I think fit the city a bit better. Just some more older looking trams. And then we have one newer modern design on one of the tram lines. So we got some older trams around there. And then, like I said, I also downloaded some new buildings here and there too. So that's gone in quite nicely. And then there was a few places around the city where I was kind of looking into the traffic because it's not great. So here's the other thing. And I don't know, maybe I was trying to keep this sort of under wraps a little bit. But I've been trying because you guys have been commenting it too. In regards to the traffic and all that, especially when I did like a traffic fixing episode and it was still bad at the end of that. You guys really wanted me to collaborate with Biffa. So if you don't know Biffa, he's another YouTuber. He does a lot of city skyline stuff, specifically a lot of stuff dealing with traffic problems in the game. And now, I will say, I personally don't think I'm that bad with traffic. Having said that, we have made no effort to have good traffic in this city. We've kind of just built roads and not really worried about traffic at all. Like no, that's not true. There's been some areas, some specific areas where I've done stuff, but for the most part, this city has really not been focused on me caring about traffic at all. But I just want to say I kind of know what I'm doing. I just choose not to do it. That's my excuse. Anyway, so the whole thing was I was trying to do a collaboration with Biffa, and it was going to happen. It was going to happen after part 39, because up to part 39 I had pre-recorded, then I was going away for like 2 weeks or something like that. And anyway, so I did that. I went away, I sent him the city, and then it just we couldn't get it to load. We could not get it to load on his computer properly. And then eventually I came home, and then, I looked into it. I made sure to send him all this like extra mod files and all, and blah, blah, blah. Got it to load. It loaded up the city, and then the city just started dying and buildings started disappearing. And then I sent more mod settings, and then I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We tried. I don't know if he's made any more progress because that was like a couple of weeks ago now. Anyway, the moral of the story there was we're trying to do a collab. It'd be great if we can get it to work. So I'm that's the other thing I've been chipping away at doing. Like I've been trying to figure out what weird and stupid setup I have in my city has caused this. Because that's also the same reason I think at the end of the Industry City Let's Play, because I shared that to the workshop. And then you guys just weren't able to use it. And it just never loaded for anyone else except for me. Part of that, and I fixed that now, part of that was because when I started making custom roads and that, instead of using the workshop version, I was using the version that was on my computer. And because no one else in the world has that version, no one else can load it. So I fixed that in this city. That's no longer a problem in this city, though we still have the problem of everything disappearing. And I'm wondering if that's something to do with, because I've got a few mods that sort of mess around with buildings. Like obviously we have what's the no abandonment mod, and we've got we had a bunch of Rico buildings and all that. But then I don't know, most of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about, but hopefully someone out there does. In like there's like mod settings files that are in like the game installation directory, and I even sent those. We tried those, that didn't work. And I'm like, I don't know what else to try. I just don't know what else to try. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I don't know. If you got any ideas, let me know. Maybe there's going to be some settings file I'm missing. Because basically what happened, he eventually got the city to load, then a bunch of buildings started disappearing. Was it the building themes? Was it something to do with that? Maybe he didn't have like the... Well, because I'm wondering, maybe even though he had all of my mods installed and had the mod settings, maybe because I have a bunch of mods in my game that I just have disabled, and then some are enabled, and then it's like maybe the one enabled or disabled correctly. I don't know. Anyway, if you have any bright ideas, please do leave them down in the comments below, because we are trying to make that collab happen, and it'd be great. Because the thing is, the traffic in this city, it moves. But we also have like the despawning traffic on. So like if the traffic gets too bad, cars just disappear. Whereas I know, like, well, you know, when we had it off by accident and all of our trains just got clogged up, we have problems like that all over the place. Where if we turn the despawning back on, everything would just start getting stuck and not working. So I would love to see what he does with it. Obviously, he wouldn't do the entire map because I think that'd be just way too much. But like, you know, little bits here and there would be really cool. So if we can make that happen, it'd be great. But yeah, I don't know. At this point in time, I do not know. So we'll see. Anyway, yeah. So we are working on the tram line now. You can see we have taken it to the tourism island that we built a little while ago now. And we're just doing a little turnaround here, nothing fancy. This is the end of the line. I didn't want to take it any further into the island just because it starts getting kind of pointless, because we also have that pedestrian bridge. We also have the ferries that go over to the island. I don't think the tram needs to go any further, especially because if we took it further down that island, it would start destroying some more of the landscape there and the buildings and all that we've already done. So I didn't want to take it any further that way. Now, it does head up through the beautiful choke point of our city where we have like the pedestrian path, that road, the highway, the train lines. We got all this stuff on this tiny little choke point between the main islands. I don't know. I really love that, where all those things sort of funnel together down to this tiny little section. It's like if any of those bridges broke right there, the whole city would die, I swear. Anyway, so we've taken the light rail there, and it sort of goes under this pedestrian bridge that we had, so we could just take it back onto the road. Because I was looking above and seeing what we could do with it, and there's definitely a lot of space where we can just take it down the road. Like, I mean, I guess ideally it'd be nice to have the light rail by itself, you know, not in a road, because if it's in a road, you know, it's going to add to the traffic. It sort of gets in the way of cars and all that. So it'd be nice if it was like on its own track separated. And we've done that in a few areas, but it can't do that everywhere. So, you know, we've done our best in that case. But we're also taking it past here, this tram hub, but we already have two existing tram lines that sort of terminate here and switch, like, you know, you can swap between the tram lines. So this one, instead of terminating here, continues past them and keeps going a little bit further. I did think about combining it with one of the other tram lines, but it didn't really make sense, because if we combined it with the one that goes around, that currently goes down to where, you know, the city area is, then it would just be a big loop. And I didn't really want to set up a giant big tram loop, because those don't typically work well with passenger loads. And there's so much more potential to take this tram line further and, you know, keep going up. And like, there's a lot of high density housing and commercial and industry a little bit further down the line if we kept taking it. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here. So we have like a little exchange, a little place for a stop there, and then they can swap over to any of the tram lines or get onto this one from the other ones. And then we sort of take it up because we've got this nice grass patch here that we can easily use to bring the tram line up here. And then we're just jumping it onto the road. I did also consider, because you might remember that I mean, this is something we haven't done for a little while, and we gotta keep it in mind. But we did that. You can see that bike lane and pedestrian path that goes all the way along the river and sort of around. I did consider sort of, I guess, replacing that with the tram line, because obviously the tram line could have pathways either side of it, so people could still use it as a pathway. I did consider doing that. I opted not for that because it would sort of then kind of be on the edge, and we get more coverage of high density and more coverage of more people and businesses with it in the road and a little bit further inland, because if it was right on the coast, then not as many people would use it, I feel. So that's kind of why I decided not to do that. And also I did a tunnel here, which you might be wondering, like, why are you doing that instead of just going over the land? Because that roundabout that we had there was already so busy, and we already have all the tram lines there, and it was already just nuts. I was like, it's going to be easier if we just tunnel underneath, pop up the other side. That's going to be the way to do it. Now from here, I was kind of like, I had two options. I was either going to terminate the tram line there, or I was going to take it all the way up to where the tram depot is. you might remember the tram depot is like really far away from most of the tram lines, but it is because it's like at the end of, one of them. But if we take this tram line all the way up there, it's actually super, like, it's actually really good because it means, number one, the trams can get onto this line quicker, but it also means you can use this tram line to get to the other one or to the train station that's up there. And it just actually connects the system together a lot better. So I was actually really happy about how this worked out. Oh, yeah, this area here, by the way, these like 50 roundabouts that we have here, this is something, like, I mean, if we look at this area, the traffic is actually moving. In my defense, it works, but I think if we turn despawning off, then it would get stuck. Yeah, this is one of the areas that I would love to see redone because I didn't really think much about this area at the time. And it ended up being way higher capacity than I ever intended this whole area to be in terms of like roads and roundabouts and highways and all that kind of stuff. So, it kind of, it overshot what it was supposed to be. And that's kind of why it ended up so bad. So now, because I'm extending the tram line over here, I figured we might as well extend some more residential over this area. Because we've had this road coming over here for ages. We've had that little roundabout for ages. And we also have a road that comes from the other extension that we have just over the other side of the train line, which you can't really see right now. And we can sort of just easily connect all this together, which would probably also alleviate some of the traffic that we have in the area because it gives them another way to go and they don't have to, jump on the highway or do all this kind of crazy stuff. So we already had this road that goes under the highway and the train line. So I was like, that's perfect because then we can just build another little residential suburb right here. That's exactly what we're doing. It's just a little suburb and it's just it was basically, I built it because we're going to have the light rail coming through here. And I'm like, well, I don't want the light rail to be completely useless, so I decided to just build an area around it. Like, that's kind of how it worked out. So that's what we're doing. So I'm keeping the light rail by itself at the moment. It's not on the road until it gets down to this, I guess, main road, because I guess it is a main road. There's actually a lot of cars and trucks end up using that area, which I guess is a good thing. But anyway. Yeah, so we got the tram comes all the way along here. It's quite nice. And then I sort of smooth it out here as well because it was pretty bumpy. I think we're going to need to do some nice landscaping around the place too because we've done, I think once you do all the buildings and you get all the trees in there, all the foliage and everything sort of starts building up and it becomes a bit more mature, it all starts looking really, really good. And I think some of this area could use it too. I don't think I actually show the built up area of this because I sort of plan out all the roads and I think I stopped recording, but then I zoned it all up and it's all kind of filled in now. So when we jump back into the game, you'll be able to see it there, which is really, really nice. And then, yeah, it's basically a little suburb like the one we have over there. Just a bunch of roads just planned out, kind of semi-grid, but pretty loose. It's like a pretty loose grid. Like we have that one nice grid down the bottom or on the left-hand side of the screen right now. And then we have these other roads that kind of semi-follow a grid. And then I was going to do a bridge here and I'm like, what are we doing? This is like a light rail line in a small suburb, essentially. It's like, why would it have a bridge? And there's no point to that. It's like light rail. Like I guess I could get it if it was a train line, but I was like, why am I bridging this? It's light rail. It's okay. It'll be fine. So that's all good. Yeah, so I'm just using all these nice roads without lane markings. My favorite road by far are these. Like I did this so perfect for all of this use case. Like just nice suburban areas without lane markings everywhere. And we get some nice grids through here. It's sort of just filling in as much as we can without it looking too... Like, I think there's a good, nice balance between... Like, I kind of want it to look like a grid and planned out, but I also don't want it to look super planned out. Like, it's clearly been built for houses, but it's still a little bit more free-flowing, especially because it's on quite a hill over there. Like, it's quite hilly in that area. And then I also just built a little tram connection there so we could get the line down there. And then this actually continues all the way down to this industrial area. And it's actually a really good spot because we terminate it just here on this empty grass patch. And it comes down here through the area. I actually removed a road that was there because no one was really using it anyway, so it didn't matter. Comes over here, and then they can actually use this point, this termination of the line to either swap to the other tram, which has a stop really close by, or you could just transfer to the ferry, which is also right there, because we sort of build a little bridge that connects to the pedestrian path So it actually works out really well. And I think the line is, we have to go in the game and check, but I think the line is actually being used quite nicely. Like it's got a nice amount of passengers on it, so it wasn't a waste. And it will probably only get more and more as we start building more things up. At least is my theory, and I hope it's going to be like that. But that's how it seems like it's going to be. Yeah, so that's that little bridge that we put in. And then I'm just doing like a key to hopefully neaten it up a bit. Actually, that's something I do need to get. I need to get just some walls that are not keys, because like really tall walls, so we can have, walls that cover up spaces that aren't like a billion miles thick. Like these keys are so thick. Like it'd be nice to have a thinner wall. Like there are some, but then we have to probably start playing around with like ploppable asphalt and grass and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. That's something I want to do. But yeah, I just did a really simple key here, and then I just put some trees and foliage around it because it starts looking. It just looks way better. Just like cover up all your sins with that stuff, and it looks beautiful. Like look at that. Isn't that nice? Little trees. Get some nice autumn trees. This city is perpetually in autumn. It's never any other season here. It's just wonderful, isn't it? It's just lovely. I think it looks great though. Like when you get all these trees in here, it just starts looking so beautiful. I really, really love it. And then I'm just trying to get a nice spacing of stops out, not doing them too far apart. Some of them are a lot closer than others, like through that area, but that's like the really high density area. So that I felt like that made sense. And then it comes down over this way to that new area we built. And surprisingly, we didn't see the big change that I made as well, that I think some of you are going to appreciate. It didn't show up at all in this time lapse. So once we jump into the live gameplay, we'll go over that and I'll show you that. And I think you'll be happy with it, which is great. But that is the tram line, and that's it for the time lapse. Let's get into the game. So here we are in the game. We have made, by the way, also the downtown in general is kind of just like started to level up as we have more services through here. So we're actually getting a nice mix of like modern buildings down here, which is actually, I think it actually looks really good. Not, I don't remember doing it like this, but I think it looks really, really nice. Like I think it's actually a pretty good mix. Anyway, so that's that. Oh yeah, so here's a tram line down this way. Comes down here, does a nice little turnaround. Oh yeah, look at the tram. Hell yeah, let me unpause. Yeah, there it goes. So it goes across. I guess do we need to follow the whole thing? I feel like we just built the whole thing. Oh, look how many people are waiting for it. I actually really like this part where it comes down to the side and sort of ducks underneath all the roads and that. It's sort of like cut open and then it goes tunnels underneath the house over there. Now this road here is actually technically not a bridge. Like I kind of just left it on the ground, but I thought it looked quite good. I think maybe if we just put a fence in there. Oh, why don't we just do that? Why don't we just live a little bit and do it now? Oh, hello. Let's undo that. I just lifted it all up. What do we have? So we've got a park fence. I need to turn off snapping here because otherwise it's going to get messy. Hello. Snapping. All of that, please. There we go. And anarchy on. That looks like that. I feel like that's too big. We've got this. That's alright, I guess. We have, what's this? Okay, we're not using a wooden fence. I guess I can probably just look at them like this. It's probably a little bit easier. Nah. Maybe I should download some new fences too. That'd probably be a good idea. Oil industry fence? Oh, that's way bigger. I think maybe the first fence is probably the way to go. It's the exact same. Great. So that's fine. I kind of just need... Let's do prop energy here as well. Is this even going to work? I don't know. How's this going to place? Let's find out. Cool, it's down the bottom. I'm wondering though, we might be able to... I'm wondering if move it works on it, because if that works, then we should be good. Just try and get that node. Is that it? I think it is, but I don't think it's working. So move it doesn't work on this particular fence. So, all right, let's. That's a problem for another day. Oh no! I hate when that happens. I hate when I accidentally delete the wrong road. It's so frustrating. Damn it. Okay, let's put that back. Okay, all right, it's fine. Let's stick it to the ground. Turn snapping. Okay, now I don't have any snapping on it. It's really frustrating now. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So to here. Oh, hang on. No, hang on. Hang on. I want it to that. No. Okay, this is not this. Okay, this is great, isn't it? This is exactly how I saw this live gameplay going. Okay, great. That's fine. That's exactly how it was. All right, we're good. We're good. Okay, let's just leave that. That was my first mistake, was thinking I could do something about it. All right, so it tunnels under here, comes out over the other side, just over here. It goes underneath this little like mini interchange that we have. Well, I guess it's not a mini interchange. It is an interchange. Just like, I guess it's the end of the highway. So anyway, that's that there. And then comes down along the road. So this is, I guess, the new area that we've built up, which I think is quite nice. We've got these nice older buildings along the front, which is just, I guess, most of them are the usual buildings that we typically see. Then I've done a few of the newer buildings that I've downloaded along here. Some smaller little ones there. A few other things here. Obviously, still some detailing to be done here. It's by no means done. It was just kind of like, this is kind of what I'm thinking in the area, so I can get your feedback on it. I definitely think we could use some trees and you know more buildings. I think, like, especially the highway. Once this area is built up, it's gonna look so much better because like right now it's like such a weird thing. Well, especially before we had any buildings here, it was such a weird structure to have like curving along the front. But I think now it's really starting to take shape, and I'm so happy with it. Anyway, so that comes here, comes down along. And then the tram goes over this way, which we all saw. Comes along. Let's actually have a look at the tram line, by the way. Oh, 200 passengers on board. Yeah, I think it's pretty popular. I think there's a few stops that maybe not so much. Well, that's just had people. Oh, you know what? There's people at like every stop. There's like 4 at that one. Although that one's just gone past, so it probably just picked up people. It's a pretty popular tram line. I'm actually really happy with it. So that's great. That's like working really, really well. That tram stop there, I think, is super useful too because it's a really easy exchange to the train, which is great. Like I think I really tried to get a lot of good exchanges between transportation methods, which I think has worked in our benefit. Like look at this, even these stops here. Out of the other ones that we have over here, these two, like these are pretty pretty popular as well. Anyway, I think you get the idea. It goes all the way down there, comes along here, comes out over this way. Let me jump back into this mode. Comes over here. This, obviously, we need to do something around here. I think maybe a nice pathway here and then like trees and maybe turn it into like a pedestrian mall or something. Could be quite nice. And then, oh yeah, so this is the new sort of suburban area, which we didn't see growing up. Now it's sort of grown. It's really basic at the moment. It's just houses and like that's literally all it is, and some commercial. I need to change these buildings. I hate those ones. Got the trams running down here. It's all working quite nicely. And then we're going to finally see the big change that I don't think... I mean, it might have appeared in the timelapse briefly at some view, but if we turn this way now... Oh, yeah. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. Do you remember what we used to have here with the industrial zone? We had that weird dumbbell thing that kind of looked like eyes. Then we had another interchange right here that was like the trumpet interchange, like a 3-way interchange here. Yeah, it was a mess because it was basically interchange, 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 and then I guess another one here. So it's like 4 in a row, and it was just terrible. Like it was just so bad, and it wasn't even good. Like especially this one was really poor. Like the amount of traffic we had on that thing was so bad. So what I've done a few things. I added this road in here, so this roundabout here. So basically, this road here used to come along and join onto the highway, and that was kind of it. Which I realized was. I mean, it was ultimately just a stupid idea. I mean, it was fine, and it's still a popular road, but it was stupid because we have the highway here. And we just basically done a highway here because it's a highway road. So the game sees it the same way. So they all just went on this one instead of trying to use the actual highway. So it was kind of pointless. So I think the other thing I might have done is I think I dropped the speed limit on some of these roads. Not all of them. No, that's very true. Not all of them. That one. No, I think I dropped the speed limit on this one. So down here, this road down the bottom is 60 because actually what ended up happening was instead of this used to be used as a highway, this one started being used as one, and because it feeds directly into the town, it was terrible. Anyway, so now instead of this road joining to the highway, it actually goes directly underneath. It does not join at all here. We come into this weird intersection, which I admit is completely useless, and I really shouldn't. Well, it's not useless. It actually works really well, mind you. It's just so over-engineered. It really should just be a roundabout. That's all it needs to be. Because the only time the lights change currently is when someone is here trying to turn right. Every other form of turn doesn't have any. It sort of either goes under or slip lanes or does something like that. The only time the lights changes is someone turning right. But it's like, it's kind of dumb. I had originally built this with the intention that it was going to be a more regular just intersection, and it was going to be more like, I don't know. It should just be a roundabout. Anyway, and then over here is the beautiful interchange, which works so nicely. So essentially what I've done is there's nowhere on this road that goes underneath where traffic has to cross over oncoming traffic. If you want to enter to the left, you go in here. If you want to enter the right, you go left over here and it comes up that way. Same on the other side. If you want to go this way, you come in here. Or if you go a little further along the road, you turn left here and go in. And then the same with exiting. There's nowhere you have to turn across and cut in front of traffic. So here, if you want to turn, like go right, you come down this way, it swings around, comes over here. If you want to turn left, it goes just here. There's obviously merge points where these two lanes go down to one, and then that merges in here. But you know, so far that's not actually posed an issue. It's all flowing really, really nicely. It is obviously busy because it's still, just as before, it was still a busy interchange. And actually we have a lot of people that now come down this way and actually turn left on this, because I added in this slip lane, which I don't know how I feel about it. Because we have a lot of people coming this way to turn left, and that's why I actually lowered the speed limit here to try and encourage people to go this way instead. So to try and get them, you know, away from the town. I guess I could do a town policy where it says no through traffic. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's just a lot better in general, because for the longest time we had that ugly solution there. That wasn't even a good solution. So I finally, you know, went about sorting that out because that was just bad. And the reason I didn't record it is because it took me so long, and I actually tried a few different designs along the way. It took me a while just to settle on this, so that's why it wasn't in the time lapse. So that's that, and I'm quite happy with that. I think there might have been a few other little things that I did around the place, but I don't really remember. I did actually change in the process of trying to get my city to work for that Biffa collab that I was talking about. All of these roads, you may remember, used to be my little road, which is this one, but it was the version that was local on my computer, not the workshop version. So I had to actually change them all to a different road. I could now go and change them back, but it's just like, well, might as well just leave it as it is because it looks fine. Yeah, so let me know in the comments down below what you want to see next, because that's going to do it for this part. It was mostly time lapse. But I think we're making some good steps. You know what? I think I want to fill in all of this. Like, all of this area. Just zone it up. Well, maybe not zone it up, but fill it in. Get some roads. Figure out how all this is going to work. Because I think it's going to be interesting just because we've got these train lines here. I'm not even sure how this is going to work. We might have to elevate these train lines up because they're a bit low. It's going to be hard to get roads over here. There's not really a good solution right now. Especially because one goes up, one goes down. So we'll sort that out. I think that might be a good idea. Oh yeah, this is the other tram. But I think I might actually, I was talking about this in the time lapse. It is a nice looking tram and I do like it. And the color changes with the line. Actually, wait, does it? No, this one doesn't. So I might even change it based on that reason. But yeah, the other reason is when you zoom out, it does that, which is not really nice. So I don't know. I might look into that. Yeah, so I kind of just want to do this area because I think once this area is done, I guess most of this whole region is going to be finally kind of more complete. And then obviously there's all this stuff to do. We can go over here, we can go over here, we can go. I kind of don't want to move on too far away till we've done what we've started, especially because this is the more dense and more, I guess, populated downtown area. I feel like this should be built. Like it doesn't make sense for it not to be zoned in, especially when like a town over here is. So I want to go do that, I think. Obviously more around the airport and this sort of industrial zone and the IKEA. By the way, this IKEA, it's fine. The police station is right here. It's been here the entire time. I know for some reason whenever I talk about it, I click on the medical clinic, but the police station is also right here. And cops can get to it, and they do go to it. I think it's just because of how many people are here, because it is one of those Rico buildings, and there's like 200 workers, let alone the people that are visiting. Yeah, look, there you go again. Let alone the people that are visiting. I think it just is a crime magnet. Like, it's always going to be like that, I think, which is kind of annoying, but whatever. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me know in the comments down below what you want to see, what you think of this part as well. We need to do more in this area. I think I made this too low density over here. I was looking at this and I'm like, it doesn't really make sense because this is pretty high density and then this is like nothing. I think maybe if we graduate it a little bit, so maybe make this a little bit more dense, kind of like this area, then at the back it could be less dense. But I think at the moment it kind of just looks a bit too empty for how close it is to the city. I was also thinking we might be able to I was thinking maybe we should do like a bridge over here. I've been kind of against the idea of doing a road bridge closer by. But I think, especially given now how many people we do have down here, this is the only road that we have going here. I think maybe we should add another one. I was thinking maybe we could do one through here, or it maybe even further up, maybe back from here somewhere alongside this rail, just so there's another way to get there. I don't know. Anyway, all ideas, you know, all things that we're thinking about, but that is going to do it for this part of the series. And I can't believe that we're over part 40 and there's still so much to do. And I think that's great. I think that's so good. I think the series has been going a little bit slower than maybe some of the others in terms of just like we're at part 40 and I guess it's not that big of a city yet, but that's kind of a good thing, I think, because it leaves a lot left to be done. Like we can still do so much. We've got all this area out here that we can do, like completely different areas all over here. We do actually, that's what we need to do. And we were talking about this in the previous episodes, was doing those sort of more, you know, like actual industries, like oil industry, ore industry, probably not ore. There's not really anywhere for that. We need to do some farming. I think maybe we should do a bunch of farming, like where we can see where it is. Like out here would be really nice. Maybe even up there, around this, like all of this. Maybe we should fill in more of this area. Just, it'd look really nice. Even if it's just decorative, I think we should definitely get something going. It's such fertile land all through here. So I think farming is probably a big thing that we should do. Especially if we do like a town center and then have farms around it would make a lot of sense. Anyway, sorry, I'm just rambling. There's so many things to talk about, so many things to be done. But let me know in the comments down below what you want to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time, and have an awesome day.